welcome to a very special episode of Small Talk Japan. Usually on this show, we talk about all things Japan in English. But today, we have the special honor of using an entire show to tell you about my favorite place in Japan, and that is Tenmonkan. Joining me today are my regular co-hosts,
Natsuki.
And Alex, hello.
We're going to talk the entire show about Tenmonkan.
Yeah.
Nice.
Natsuki, when I say Tenmonkan, what do you think?
Hangover.
I told Natsuki before we went on there today, I said, no negative comments. She said, gotcha.
But that's
First comment.
That's not negative. That's the result of a good night before.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's a positive in a way.
So going along those lines, Alex, what's your, when I say Temonkan, what do you think?
Hangover. No, good food.
Good food.
Good people.
Good people.
Good drinks.
Good drinks.
Good drinks.
Yeah. Friends as well.
Yeah.
Always see my friends there.
For those of you at home who probably, if you've never seen Tenmonkan before, Tenmonkan is the kind of the downtown heart of Kagoshima. And before we really get into it, I kind of want to give you a little bit of a visual of what it looks like and a little bit of the history. So let's go to that video.
Just a few minutes tram ride away from the bullet train, you'll find yourself arriving here. This lively, bustling intersection sits in the heart of Kagoshima's most exciting place, Tenmonkan. Tenmonkan, or Astronomical Hall, got its name from its roots in the 1700s, where Shimazu Shigehide established this area as an astronomical observatory. In fact, this area is filled with history. Not too far from this area is where Francis Xavier landed in Japan in the 1500s. This colorful stained glass mural illustrates his voyage from Europe to Kagoshima, being the first person to bring Christianity to Japan. Walk into the arcade from any of its many entrances, and you'll find yourself in an endless maze of arched ceilings, covering you from rain and, more importantly, the falling ash from the nearby volcano. These coverings encapsulate a mixture of restaurants, shops, cafes, entertainment, and more.
So, Natsuki, when you look at those, those arches, that long arcade, you think home.
Yes.
Why?
That's where I grown up.
That's where you grew up.
Grew up.
Now tell us about your family business. It's here in Tenmonkan, right?
Right. My family have their own business, family business, and they have kimono shop in Tenmonkan.
Named Obi.
Obiya.
Obiya.
Yeah, I bought a kimono there once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Howdy, I think it was, yeah.
I think I only own one kimono, and I'm pretty sure it was a gift. What did you get a kimono for?
I don't know, just for a laugh.
Just for a laugh.
Yeah, just for going out and...
You're talking about a kimono, not like a yukata, right?
No, kimono, hawari, I think it was.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, in the opening credits to our show, you actually see a little bit of the kimono shop that Natsuki's family owns, where she's, pulling out the orange kimono, the beautiful orange kimono. Alex, when you see that video, the introduction of Tenmonkan, how do you feel?
Man, it's like a place to go on the weekend with my family, you know what I mean? To go stroll around,
Is it a family-friendly place?
Yeah, totally, yeah. So, go there and get a coffee, walk around the shops for a bit with the kids. And because there's no roads in the arcade itself, the kids can kind of run around. And Kagoshima people are so welcoming for little kids especially, right?
Yeah.
So, Natsuki was saying just before we started that, restaurants in other prefectures might not be so welcoming to kids. But even here, like ramen shops, which are famous for kind of, being a place where businessmen will go for a quick meal or whatever, really welcoming to little children and families as well.
Right.
So, that environment's just so kind of unique and Kagoshima-like, right?
Yeah, I think if you go to a major, if you go to a major downtown area in like Tokyo or Osaka, there's a lot of business people.
Yeah.
But in Tenmonkan, it's really a mixture, and you actually see a lot of families. And there's actually a lot of family-friendly facilities here as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Places to change babies, and places. There's a nearby park where you can go with your small children.
Yeah.
And as you said, Alex, the people in Tenmonkan, in general in Kagoshima, but especially in Tenmonkan because you're so close together. The people in Tenmonkan are so friendly.
Right.
Yeah, they're chilled, right? Really chilled out. And you were saying they walk slower than everybody else as well.
Right.
Yeah?
I did.
They absolutely do. Like if you go to Tokyo, you just got back from Tokyo.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
go to Tokyo, I mean everybody's like almost running.
Yeah.
You know, they're busy. They got places to go. Tenmonkan's more like, hey guys, just calm down, relax,
Chill. Yeah.
take your time, no rush. Kagoshima, it's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's just a different world.
Yeah. Portside, tropical
Yeah.
kind of environment,
Little-
laid back.
A little bit more south.
Yeah, a bit more southern, yeah.
Now, speaking of families, if you come to Tenmonkan, one of the very first things that people like to do is hit up a very, very famous type of sweet.
Shirokuma literally means polar bear. But in this case, we're not talking about an animal. We're talking about the quintessential dessert of Kagoshima. A dish made from shaved ice and condensed milk. Mix in some toppings such as fruit, and you have a delectable contrast of sweet and tart. Perfect for those hot Kagoshima summers.
All right, let's talk about Shirokuma for a second here.
Oh,
First,
my-
what?
Favorite.
Your favorite? Both of you have, I assume, have had Shirokuma before.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Natsuki, how do you feel about it?
It's very sweet, and a lot of fruits are in there. You gotta try it. You gotta try.
Yeah.
You
Many times. Yeah.
Alex, how do you feel about Shirokuma?
Yeah, it's delicious, man. I mean, I ordered the one at Mujaki,
Yeah.
the shop that was just featured, and I thought I'm a Western guy, I can eat a lot. And ordered the biggest one.
did you?
I've
Massive.
seen. I've never actually
Huge.
seen the real one, but I've seen photos of
Yeah.
it. How big is
Oh,
it?
it's like huge. It's like, bigger than my head.
No, this is not intended for one person, is it?
No. I didn't really read the menu very carefully. But it was delicious. The condensed milk and the shaved ice and stuff. It's not too sweet. It's sweet, but it's not too sweet. And it's not too heavy either. So the ice is it's not crunchy like you might imagine. It's really fluffy and light.
Like powdered snow, right?
Yeah. And mixed with the fruits as well. It tastes really nice. It's great.
Someone told me once that the condensed milk, the milk in the Shirokuma really balances out the sweetness. Kind of like, sometimes when you eat cake and you drink milk, or you have
Yeah.
like chocolate cookies and milk.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like that good balance that you want.
Yeah. It works really well together. Yeah, definitely.
And here, sorry.
On a hot day though as well.
Yeah.
In summer, it's just beautiful, man.
Kagoshima can get a little hot, guys, because we are in the south, and so when you are out in the summertime and you're kind of sweating a little bit, and you just want that refreshing something to eat outside. Because Shirokuma, they give it to you in this little funnel, so you can carry it around. And actually, Natsuki, in Japan, carrying around food and eating it outside, it's not really a thing, right?
Right, it's not really a thing. But like during the summer festival or even like usual holidays, we can enjoy, take out.
So, some like carrying and eating foods, but Shirokuma, any time of the year, you can get it and walk around with it, and no one will mind.
Right,
Yeah.
and then they have a lot of flavors too. Like not only like condensed milk, they have like strawberries, mango, chocolate. So my favorite is chocolate Shirokuma. It's like just like you said, chocolate milk.
It's like a chocolate milkshake.
Yeah.
They also have azuki beans, right?
Yeah, azuki beans are also in there. It's really good.
Now there are many different shops that sell Shirokuma, so don't just think it's just one. In fact, there's a famous shop that's another famous shop that's near Temonkan that has, I think, the purest ice or something like that. They're famous for their ice.
You Yanagawa Hyoshi.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
That shop has like people waiting a long line.
Yeah, even in
to
the
buy.
hot heat of summer,
Yeah.
you'll see like 20 or 30 people just waiting in line, fanning themselves, waiting for that pure ice Shirokuma.
I mean, it's crystal clear though. The ice block they use to make it with.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
Like it's on display, right?
Yeah. So it's like just amazing quality,
Yeah.
And it's
Amazing
so
quality.
fluffy as well. Really nice. Yeah.
And it's something that you can obviously like really enjoy with your whole family.
Yeah.
All right, guys, from dessert to ancient history, I want you guys to learn about a dojo that's here in Temonkan. And for that, we're going to flip to a video with Alex.
Hello, Alex here. So when we think of Japan, we obviously think of many different things, but one of the things we do think of is samurai. and samurai culture. And I'm happy to say that one part of samurai culture is still here today in Kagoshima, and that's why we've come to the Jigen-ryu Swordsmanship Museum right here in Kagoshima City Center. We're going to have a walk around the museum today, and then we're going to do a brief demonstration of the actual techniques of Jigen-ryu as well. Okay, so here we are at the Jigen-ryu Historical Records Museum. As you can see behind me, there are lots of materials on display here. The first one I want to show you is right over here. So this is the founder of Jigen-ryu. His name was Togo Tobe Hizen no Kami Chui. So he was called Chui by his students for short, and he lived towards the end of the Warring States period here in Japan in the late 1500s, and he was raised as a samurai. At the age of 7, he's said to have killed a thief using his dagger, and he also trained in martial arts until the age of around 21 or 22. So in 1587, he went with his lord up to Kyoto, because at the end of the Warring States period, the samurai realized that their fighting skills may not be necessary in a time of peace, and they needed to learn other skills in order to survive. So Togo Chui went up to Kyoto to learn about lacquerware and goldsmithing as well. So while he was in Kyoto, Togo Chui learned this here, makie, this kind of skill of putting gold leaf onto lacquerwork from the Goto family. And we have some real examples of his work here. These are actual bowls that Togo Chui made himself by hand. We still have them in the collection here. But while he was in Kyoto, he was staying at a temple, and it was there he met a Buddhist monk by the name of Zenkichi. So Zenkichi's picture is right over here. So Togo Chui heard that Zenkichi practiced a form of swordsmanship called Tenshin Shojigen-ryu, and Chui, being a kind of strong warrior himself, wanted to test out if Zenkichi was the real deal. So they ended up having a duel, and Zenkichi beat Togo Chui quite easily. So Togo Chui then asked Zenkichi to become his teacher, and after 3 days of bargaining with him, he eventually brought him some sweets and some presents as well, and Zenkichi agreed to teach Togo Chui the secrets of Tenshin Shojigen-ryu. So after learning the secrets of Tenshin Shojigen-ryu from the monk Zenkichi, Togo Chui came all the way back to Kagoshima to a place called Torigoe near Kokubu, and he practiced for 3 years striking the persimmon trees in his garden with a wooden stick. So he actually killed off all the trees around his garden because he trained so hard. And when people found out he'd created a new style of swordsmanship, challengers came to test his strength. And he was actually undefeated in 47 duels during this time. So finally, the Lord caught wind of Togo Chui's prowess and asked him to have a duel with his domain instructor of a school called Taisha-ryu. Togo Chui beat the Taisha-ryu instructor and then became the instructor for the whole of the Satsuma province. So as you can see here, Jigen-ryu was one of the key skills that the samurai learned. So they practiced martial arts. So you can see there's a samurai sat here next to a broken pole. This is the pole they strike to practice. And in the background we can see there's a young samurai playing Satsuma biwa, which is a musical instrument much like a lute. And finally there's another young samurai there practicing calligraphy as well. So samurai in Satsuma were supposed to be not only strong warriors, but also cultured gentlemen and a good example to the common classes as well. So you can see here we've got 2 swords that the samurai would thrust into the belt. They always had 2. So the longer sword, katana, or tachi, it's usually called, and then the short sword, which is usually called a wakizashi. So they would wear both of these thrust into their belt as a symbol of their status as warriors. Okay, so the Jigen-ryu Historical Records Museum is not only a museum, there's also a dojo attached to the building as well. And I actually practice here too. So today we're going to take a special look inside and see how Jigen-ryu is practiced today. So behind these doors, we can see the practice area. And as you can see, the first thing you might notice is the floor isn't wooden boards like you would find in a modern martial arts dojo. It's actually just packed dirt on the floor. Okay, as you can see, we have a dirt floor and we have several poles like this buried in the ground. So these poles are about the height of a person, slightly taller than me as you can see, and they're buried about 1 meter underground as well. And these are used for a striking practice called tategi uchi, where we strike on both sides diagonally to simulate cutting through the neck, through the body, and then out through the hip of the opponent. So what do we hit these with? We use these weapons over here. So most people will be familiar with a wooden sword that looks like this, from other schools of swordsmanship perhaps, or kendo, stuff like that. But for Jigen-ryu, we mainly use tree branches that have been cut off and dried out like this. So this is from a tree called yusunoki, which is found in the southern part of Japan, and it's very, very hard wood, and it doesn't break very easily. So we go and cut these down in the mountains and dry them for between 5 and 7 years. As you can see up there, we've got lots and lots of branches ready to be used. And then we use these to strike the tategi and practice tategi-uchi, our basic style of practice. If you want to try out Jigen-ryu for yourself, check out our website, drop us an email, and we'll let you know about availability. Okay, thank you for joining me today, and take care.
All right, Alex. I think everybody at home is probably has the same question on their mind. The voice.
Right, okay.
All right, when we watch like, you know, kendo and things like that, we see kind of similar actions, but that soul-piercing voice, that warrior scream is different.
Yeah. So it's a little bit unique compared to other arts. I mean, kendo does have kakegoe, or kiai, where they shout as well, but the particular kind of high-pitched voice in Jigen-ryu is a bit unusual. So we actually...
Is there a purpose for that? What's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. So most people think it's to scare the opponent, but that's not really the reason per se.
I mean, because I got to tell you, okay, really quick, a little side story. When we were filming that, okay, in the dojo, we've got the camera. You've got a wireless mic on. Camera guy's got his headphones on. He's holding the camera. And it's like, okay, go. None of us were prepared for the voice that you just. I mean, the camera guy was just like reeling in pain, going, "Oh my God!" And I wasn't listening on the microphone. I was just standing near you, and I felt like my hairs just stand up on the back of my neck. It was like a warrior cry. I'd never heard something like that before.
Yeah, it's not something you experience on a daily basis.
Especially since you just threw it out there. It just came.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So it's like. I suppose it does scare the opponent as well, obviously, and it's something that people don't usually hear. So it is kind of scary, right? If somebody's
to hear a grown man like yell that like a blood-curdling, warrior's cry.
And on the screen, I mean, it said warning loud, but if you do it right in front of somebody, it's much, much louder.
Let me tell you, when editing the video, the editor's just like bringing down the levels on your mic just to make sure it's not like blowing out your speakers.
Yeah. So I mean, another reason behind it is because when you scream like that and shout loud, your head kind of goes blank, your mind goes blank.
It psychs you up.
Yeah. And also your hands grip more tightly, and your core muscles engage as well. So it adds power to the strike too. So that's another reason behind it.
Is that like when you work out, for example, in the gym, they always tell you to breathe out while you're doing your workout?
Absolutely, yeah. Or
same thing, I guess.
Or tennis players, when they hit the ball, they grunt, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, just to get that tightness in the hand and hip action together at the same time. So it's exactly the same thing.
Now related to this, there's a saying in Jigen-ryu. I'm not sure what the Japanese is, but it's like something about first strike.
Yeah. So ichi no tachi wo togawazu, ni no tachi wa make.
So what does that mean?
So it means never doubt the first strike. The second strike will always lose.
Now explain that.
So basically, it means putting all your effort and energy behind the first action, never doubting yourself, and then you'll win. But if you worry whether you're going to win or not, or you're doubtful about your own abilities, you'll fail. So it's not just about combat and swordsmanship and injuring people and things like that. It's more about the daily challenges that you have in life and your work.
So this is a philosophy that we can apply to our lives.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the idea of this practice. It's to give added value to your life, not to go around hurting people and stuff. And one of the key teachings is never draw your sword in Jigen-ryu. So you train
Wait,
to be
wait,
a tough
wait.
warrior, but
wait,
don't
wait.
fight with people.
You become a master swordsman.
Yeah,
And the point is to never draw your sword.
and to never have a fight.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's the idea, right? So
Huh.
they say, don't say anything rude, don't do anything rude, never draw your sword. Yeah. But if somebody
Wow.
attacks you, then,
Self-defense.
in a state of, they call it munem musol, so it means like, how to explain it, a state of flow,
Yeah, okay.
you automatically defend yourself and cut the other person down.
So these are like, I mean, I hate to compare, but these are like the scenes in Jackie Chan movies where he's like, oh, I'm a nice guy, don't punch me. But then when they start punching him, he's like,
Yeah, that's
Just knows
like-
what to do.
Yeah, it's like a simplified kind of, version of it, whatever, yeah, something like that.
how long have you been doing Jigen-ryu? I mean, it's
Wow, like 15 years maybe, but I've been doing traditional Japanese martial arts for about 20
what
now.
what got you into Jigen-ryu? I mean, it's a unique, it's very historical, but
Yeah.
it's a very unique martial art that's not as popular as other like karate or something like that.
So I mean, in England I did kendo and ei, which is like drawing the sword and cutting with it. And my teachers over there knew Jigen-ryu. And they said, if you go to Kagoshima, this is the real deal. Not many people can practice this. They might not be welcoming at first, but if you get in there, you're going to see a whole different world of Japanese culture that most people would never be able to access.
I mean, that's true. There's not a lot of foreign people in Jigen-ryu. Maybe you,
Yeah, and there's another guy who lives in Tokyo who's like,
so like two.
yeah. So there's just two of us. And it's been great opportunity. I've been to so many shrines and temples to demonstrate, and even demonstrate in front of the Crown Prince of Japan, who's now the emperor. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a big honor.
Yeah, that was really nerve-wracking, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It would be. It would be nervous. I would be nervous to be in front of the emperor.
Yeah.
Now tell me, today's show is about Tenmonkan. The dojo for your Jigen-ryu dojo is in Tenmonkan. Why is it in Tenmonkan? We think Tenmonkan lively nightlife and restaurants and shops.
Yeah.
Dojo. Why?
So basically, the area that it's in was one of the areas where the big samurai houses were.
Oh, okay.
In the city.
Historically.
Historically, right?
Yeah.
So the Togo family who taught Jigen-ryu had a big house in that region, and that land was given to them by the Shimazu clan. Shimazu family were the feudal lords. And it's been there ever since. So, we've been in the same location for 350, 60 years. Before that, they were a little bit closer to the main castle, but, it burnt down and it was moved to its new location. So,
But new is not very
But
new.
new
Hundreds
is,
of years.
Yeah, hundreds of years old. So it's like a piece of living history that's still there in the city. Yeah.
It's amazing when you walk by it, you can hear you guys like shouting, and you're just like, oh, they're practicing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I mean, it's one of the only places in Japan where you can walk through town and hear a sound that people 300 years ago would have been hearing.
Wow.
It's very, very unusual. Yeah.
Now, you said in the video that if we want to practice Jigen-ryu ourselves, we can contact them, and of course the museum recommend it for everyone. But there's a place in Kagoshima. It's not in Temonkan. It's a little bit far, a little bus ride away
Sure.
where we can practice a little bit of Jigen-ryu, right?
Yeah, so if you go to Sengaen, which
Yeah.
is the kind of house and gardens of the Shimazu family,
World Heritage Site.
World
here
Heritage
at
Site as
Kagoshima.
well. Yeah, if you go into there's a small Jigen-ryu area as well, where there's some information about the school and also a tategi that you can strike yourself as well.
And shout.
And shout as well if you wish, but I don't know if people around you will be so happy about that. But
Have you ever hold the stick?
Yeah.
It's very heavy.
It's because it's very, very hard wood, so it's not. It's not light. It's heavy. It's real.
Yeah.
I experienced once at the Sengayan.
Yeah.
It was very heavy.
Right? And on top of that, you guys have to. I mean, the old ways. I mean, I hear that the guys would strike 10,000 times in one day. Do you do that, Alex?
I've tried it, but it's quite hard for a modern person to do. So yeah, they used to say ashtani sanzen, yuni hasen, so 3,000 in the morning and 8,000 in the afternoon
Oh, no.
or the evening, whatever. So they were hardcore back in the day,
Well, listen, if you are practicing that much every day, then you need to keep up your stamina. And the next thing I want to go to in our Tenmonkan tour is a very unique and delicious restaurant right here in Tenmonkan.
Once the sun goes down, head over to Bunkadori, or Culture Street, the nightlife heart of Tenmonkan. Nestled inside the bars and hostess clubs, here you can find this restaurant, Suijin, or Drunk God. This place's uniqueness lies in its top-shelf Kagoshima Wagyu beef and pork. Just look at that marbling. And combining that with this. a black piece of the Earth's heart. A Yogan plate. Cut from dried magma, these Yogan plates take over 10 minutes to flame heat. They work much like a seasoned iron skillet, allowing you to make the most delicious yakiniku in all of Japan. Let's just listen to that satisfying sizzle. And since these ingredients are locally sourced, you can easily enjoy the best umami of your life without breaking the bank.
Now I got to tell you, Suijin is one of my favorite places in all of Japan. Not just Tenmonkan, not just Kagoshima, but all of Japan to bring guests to. You guys have both been there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Alex, we recently went there with some international friends.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
What was their interaction?
Great, like usual. You know what I mean? The quality of the produce first
Yeah.
is always the number one thing. I mean, it's just such great quality. And then obviously the Yogan Yaki, the lava plate,
Yeah.
so unusual.
And expensive. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, one of
Yeah.
those plates is, several $100s.
Yeah.
And they apparently don't last very long because they're a natural thing. They end up cracking and you have to replace them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the porous nature of the rock, the kind of fat soaks into it as well.
Yeah, and it comes back out like an iron skillet.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just so nice.
It stays seasoned for a while. So if you go into the restaurant, you see the one that's like, more oil, that has more oil in it, that's the one that you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Natsuki, you've been there before. What was your take on it?
I love beef, pork, and chicken. So
You are the Kagoshima woman. The Kagoshima woman.
it's really good.
Now, Natsuki, you've lived in Kagoshima and you've also lived in other places in Japan. Can you tell us how, special it is that we have access to this high quality beef, easy and affordable beef and pork here in Kagoshima?
So tell them about Kagoshima beef is number one. Japanese number one.
So Kagoshima is the reigning champion for the most delicious beef in all of Japan.
Wagyu Olympics.
Yeah, the Wagyu Olympics.
Yeah.
It's true. Now, if you eat Kagoshima beef, and that they serve this in a lot of the top restaurants in like Tokyo, Osaka, things like that. If you go there and you eat the beef that we produce here, it's going to cost you 10 times as much over there.
Yeah.
Right.
Here, you're closer to the source, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Now, I mean, at Suijin, you can get like A4, A5 level. Like we're talking like, I mean, you saw the video, guys. I mean, it's like butter.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I mean, there's such a long history of eating meat here as well, though. I mean,
Yeah.
even back in the samurai days when the rest of the Japan was eating like fish and vegetables just only, really.
we eat fish and vegetables here too.
Of course.
But
Yeah. But, this culture of eating pork and stuff like that, it's just so deeply ingrained into the region.
And the samurai, the fighters were big.
Yeah. They were
historically
average height was bigger than the rest of Japan.
Yeah.
Samurai in this region because of the meat eating, right?
And they were feared. They were feared amongst the other, areas in Japan. And so, that's where you get all that stamina from.
Yeah.
All right, guys. After you get your bellies full of delicious Wagyu, the next step is to go have a drink.
こんにちは。私は天文館で居酒屋レイナヨカバンっていう店を経営してます。森レイナです。よろしくお願いします。居酒屋なんですけど、たくさんの人といっぱいコミュニケーション取れる場所を作りたくて、ただ食べる飲むだけじゃなくて、たくさんの人がいっぱいコミュニケーションして喋って仲良くなってもらう場所です。やっぱりうちは焼酎ですね。焼酎は人気ですね。焼酎というのは、鹿児島が特産品って言って鹿児島で作ってる、芋焼酎って言ってさつまいもなんですよ、原料は。鹿児島ってさつまいもの生産地なんですよね、昔から。でやっぱその原産地である芋を使ったいわアルコール蒸留酒になります。焼酎の飲み方は、鹿児島ではうちのお店で多い飲み方はお湯割り。お湯割りはあったかいお湯を先に入れて、その後焼酎を入れて、だいたい飲む時の温度が、50度45度から50度ぐらいのちょっとぬるめで飲むのをお湯割りと言います。お湯で割るってことですね。それから、氷だけのロックで、今ちょっと流行ってるのがソーダ割りですね。 ソーダで飲むのもいわばもともとビールとかハイボールとか飲んでたお客様が今焼酎のソーダ割りを結構飲みますね。この店は特に予約なくても入れます。で外から見てちょっと多いなと思っても大丈夫です。私が間に全部座ってもらってみんな仲良くなってもらえるので、できるだけその遠慮しないで多くても入れますかって声かけてもらった方が楽しいですね。
横バンジェッタ。横バンジェッタ。はい次。はい次。横バンジェッタ。はい次。横バンジェッタ。
外国人観光客の方が結構来られるんですけど、なぜかっていうとはっきりこれっていう原因は分かんないんですけど、でも友達の紹介、あとはゲストハウスさんからの紹介とか、あとはたまたま乗ったロンリープラネット、去年私が知らない間に乗っちゃってたこの店がっていうのが一番外国人の観光客が来てもらうきっかけですね。もし外国のお客様が観光に天文館にまた来られる時期が来たら、そうですね、やっぱり鹿児島って人間があったかいので、すごい遠慮なくいろんな人に声かけて、わからないこととか鹿児島のこととかをどんどん聞いておしゃべりいっぱいしてもらいたいですね。あとはやっぱりこういうお店に入って鹿児島の食べ物とか焼酎とかその文化に触れてもらいたいですね。
I think that if there is a place in all of Temonkan that you want to really experience the people of Kagoshima, it's Yokoban.
Yeah.
Alex, you were saying while we were watching the video just now how Kagoshima dialect, how much Dana's Japanese sounds so Kagoshima.
Yeah, if you don't speak Japanese, you may not notice, but if you speak Japanese, you'll see she's got real Kagoshima intonation. Yeah. So it sounds so exotic even for Japanese people, right, coming down here. Yeah.
I love walking in front of her shop, especially in the afternoon when she's setting up and everything. Instead of usually Japanese people will say "Otsukare-sama," which is like thank you for your hard work kind of thing. It's just a casual greeting. But with Dana, she says the Kagoshima version is "Oyato-san."
Yeah.
She says it with such enthusiasm that every time it just makes me like put a smile on my face.
But she's one of the most energetic people I know, I think.
I've never seen her be negative.
I know.
No.
She's so positive.
Yeah.
Natsuki, you frequently go to Yokoban. Tell what do you think about it?
My favorite place. I truly recommend you to go there because Lena is so friendly.
Yeah.
And then she's good at make people friends each other.
Yeah, making the connections.
Right. So it's of course food is good, drink is good, and then like you said, you can feel real Kagoshima people there, and it's very fun.
When you were watching that video, you were seeing some of your friends in the video, weren't you?
Right.
It's really like there's that American TV show Cheers where everyone knows your name.
Yeah.
Yokoban is like the place that you can just get connected to the heart and soul of Tenmonkan and Kagoshima there.
Yeah.
The people are just so friendly.
Right.
So I mean, there's a pictures from a couple of years back, but like when that comes back again, man, it's going to be fun.
I
Yeah.
know those days.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right now, unfortunately, because, the situation around the world, it's a little bit quieter than it usually would be. But, come spring or maybe, autumn or spring or something like that, when it bounces back, I think that Yokoban's going to be probably go back to be even more popular than it ever was before.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And especially if you guys want to try shochu, the local liquor here, which is, part of the heart of the friendliness of Kagoshima people is the drinking culture here. If you ask a person in say Tokyo about the image of a Kagoshima person in drinking, what's the image?
Heavy drinker.
Heavy drinker. I would say heavy drinker, but most people think they have high alcohol tolerance, even the women.
Yeah.
Which is probably true.
But another thing is when you sit next to somebody in like an izakaya or a bar or whatever like that, always get talking to you.
Yeah.
That's something you don't really experience so much in other regions of Japan, perhaps.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
They'll talk to you like, hey, where are you from?
Yeah.
Also, shochu can be a kind of a group drink, especially if you have the bottle on the table and you all have your glasses. I mean, you can share the bottle and it becomes more of a, like a device for communication.
Yeah.
And because there's so many shochu makers here in Kagoshima, there's so many different flavors. When you come here, make sure that you try the shochu. If you've never had it before, you might be a little surprised because it is pretty strong alcohol, but you'll grow to love it, and the various drinking styles of it. And the best place to do it, I think, is Yokoban.
Yeah, and if you can get to a kura as well to see how it's made,
Yeah.
distillery, it's always a great adventure as well.
Yeah,
to
if you don't spend your whole time in Temonkan, I would. But if you don't, there's lots of factories and distilleries around here that you can go on tours with. You just we'll maybe put some of that information in the comment the description of the video.
Mm-hmm.
All right. After you've had your fill on Wagyu, you've got your camaraderie with the people in Yokoban. Maybe you want to finish your night at a bar, but this next bar might keep your eyes busy for the entire time that you're there.
鹿児島生まれの63歳石田博と申します。よろしくお願いします。ここはですね、当初始めた時には何もないお店だったんですけど、始めて1、2年した時に何か物をあったらいいなと思って、自宅から骨董品が好きだったんで、骨董品とかおもちゃを持ってきたのが始まりで、それからたくさんおもちゃたちが集まるようになりました。それで何でも集めるのが好きなもんですから、もうジャンルは関係なく自分が骨董市とかいろんなとこ行ってですね、集めてきました。はい。それをお店に並べてるうちに、またその好きなこういうものが好きなお客様がご来店していただけるようになりました。ここはですね、もうおかげさまでもう24周年になりました。2月の14日で24周年になって、はい。今こういう時代なんですけど、頑張ってやっていこうと思ってます。はい。大きい小さいも含めると、今はだいたい4万個ぐらいあります。はい。ちっちゃいものも含めてですね。はい。で、はい、おもちゃとにかく世代を通しても若い人から10代の方からも60代の方たちまで皆さん好きな方たちがいらっしゃるんで、はい、でその当時の懐かしい例えばテレビドラマだとか今では YouTuber なんかもあるでしょうけども、そういうのいろんなものを古いものから今風のものまで必ず一点はどっかあると思います。はい。私はとてもその芸能人が好きなもんですから会いたいなと思って会いに行かせていただくとなんとなく会えるんですよね。はいはい。ほんでやっぱりお手紙を書いたりとかファンレター書いたりとかですね、そうやって交流させていただいたりする方たちが多いですね。はい。と同時にやっぱり鹿児島にうちの店で鹿児島に来ていただいて、やっぱり鹿児島にこんな面白いとこあるとか、あるいはこんな食べ物あるとか、なんか一人観光大使みたいなのやってます。はい。そんな感じで、はい、もう自分から出かけて行ったりとか、それからまたご紹介いただいたりとかですね、そんな感じです。はい。もちろんおもちゃもカルチャーなんですけど、私昔から日本の古いものが好きで、鹿児島でいうとさつま焼きとかあとキリコとか、あと僕は昔のタバコのキセルとか好きなんで、そういったものを皆さんにちょっと吸い方とか今こういう面白いのあるとかですね、こう伝えてしていただきたいと思ってですね。なので文化はやっぱりずっと継承していかなきゃならないんで、そういうのがすごく外国の方たちにも知っていただけたら嬉しいと思いますし、と同時にまたたくさんの文化交流がちっちゃい店なんですけどもできたらいいなと、そういうのを発信できたらいいなと思ってですね、そういうのを唯一無二な店にしたいと思ってですね、日々研鑽してます。はい。僕はこういう仕事が好きなんで、体力が続く限りやり続けられたらいいなと思ってですね。そしてまたおもちゃのよくおもちゃの有名な方がおっしゃるんですけども、もう僕もこれ全て一時預かりなんで、もし誰か次の方がいればまたそこにバトンタッチですね。もうそれも本当に歴史だと思うんですね。でこういうもう今必要ないものがあったとしてもきっとまだそこからすごくカルチャーが発信されたらいいなと思ってですね。だから無駄なもの一つも世の中にないんで、はい。でそれが誰かの代に続け、それが100年200年続いたらいいなと、そんな感じで今も物を集めたりとかしてですね、誰かに伝えて、またそれがまた今こんなコロナの時代なんですけど元気になっていただければ私もそれはすごく嬉しいです。そんな感じです。はい。
I have a little story about his bar that I want to mention. Alex, you brought in foreign press to Kagoshima.
Yeah, during the Rugby World Cup, yeah.
And we had all of these reporters, and they had seen their fair share of Kagoshima, various places. And then it was the end of the evening, and you asked me, "Hey, I'm looking for a last place to go with these guys. Where do you think would be a good place?" And I recommended Karakata, which is Ishii-san's bar there. And what was their reaction?
So, I mean, the shot wasn't in the video, but when you go up the stairs to get to it, the door, for a start, is quite small.
You have to bow and go in.
It's not a normal door. So it's like, first reaction was, what is this place we've been taken to? So we went inside, and right in front of you, you'll see just thousands and thousands of kind of retro toys and all kinds of stuff. And the seats are actually from an airplane as well.
Yeah, 3 rows of an airplane.
So you have to buckle yourself in when you sit down. And it's just nuts, man. It's such a crazy experience. But, I mean, all of those journalists wrote about it. So that place is in, like, 5 national newspapers. I'm not joking.
Because I was with them from earlier in the evening, and they started to kind of, as maybe jet lag or whatever it was, they started to get a little tired towards the end of the night. The second we entered that bar, they were, like, wide awake and just like, what is this place?
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just so crazy. I mean, the other thing he was saying about celebs as well, I mean, he does like celebrities. And if you look at the pictures on the wall, if you're a Japanese person or you live in Japan, you'll know like
every one of
all
them.
of them.
Yeah,
it's like former prime ministers, actors, singers.
If you're from a foreign country, Ken Watanabe, which everybody knows,
yeah.
He met him. His picture's in the video.
Yeah, he went a couple of times apparently.
Yeah.
And he's also got bottles of shochu ready with celebrities' names on,
assuming that they're gonna come.
Yeah, assuming they're gonna turn up. So he's got several ready already, and he's got a few spares with no name, so he can quickly write it up and give them a present when they turn up.
I tell you, my favorite part, I mean, even though he's got all of that stuff in his bar, I think my favorite part of Karakata is Mr. Ishii. He's such a character. He's like a character that lives in that little place. It's really like a magical little place. Natsuki, you've been there before.
I have.
What do you think about it?
I once drank alcohol with test tube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Now we can't mention all the different types of cups that he has, because some of them border on the adult side, but what the master is really good about is reading your kind of aura. And if he thinks that you're kind of like, oh, this person will enjoy the more adult side of humor or clean side of humor, he'll kind of meet you at that. And there's just so much stuff in there. Like, he'll look at you and be like, oh, come here, look at this, have you seen this? And he'll find something that you're interested in. And it's just, I don't know. It's like a magical little place.
He's like a curator of his own little
museum,
or I don't know what it is. It's weird. But all those things are memories, though. They're people's memories from times gone by. So all that kind of energy's in there as well, right?
And when you go, when you go there with different generations of people, they all look at the different things. The toys and the things from their generation. It is really interesting. All right, guys, that has been our introduction to Tenmonkan. Now we have a little bit of time left at the end of the show. We want to take it to the live comments. I've been watching you guys' comments on my phone. If you guys have any questions or want to have a shout out or anything like that, now is going to be the time to that. So I'm going to get to some of our questions now. So we've got one from Mr. Magnus. He asked, I guess it's a he, maybe it's a she. How bad is the falling ash in Tenmonkan? How bad is it?
It depends on the time, isn't it?
Summertime.
So in winter, they say it blows the other direction to Osumi Peninsula. So it doesn't, fall so much on the city. And in summertime, it blows the other direction towards the city. But it just depends on how active the volcano is. So there's ash all over my car now because I've not cleaned it for 4 days. But, until then, about 2 or 3 weeks, there wasn't much ash fall at all.
So the ash, it depends on two things. It depends on the direction of the wind and then also how active Mr. or Mrs. Sakurajima is. And then sometimes it gets really bad. I mean, I remember one time about 9 years ago, it looked like it snowed gray snow. It was like this much ash throughout all of Temonkan. It looked like a bomb had fell. It was like war zone. But the thing is like, even though that happened and the whole city gets covered in ash, a couple days later, it's clean. They just clean it up.
Right.
It's crazy.
But they also have Sakurajima Joku Kazamuki, in the morning on the news, which is the air.
Explain what this is.
It's the wind direction above Sakurajima.
Yeah.
So if the arrow points into the city, it means put your laundry in the house.
Right,
If
right.
it points the other direction, it's yeah, we don't have to sweep up.
So usually, wherever you are, if you're watching the weather report on the morning news, it's got like the map with like little sunshines or like little rain clouds or whatever. After that map in Kagoshima, we get another map that has like the peninsula and the volcano in the middle with like what Alex said with an arrow pointing. This is the direction the wind is going. So the ash, if there's ash, will go that way.
Yeah, and we also get the yellow bags. There's one just off camera actually, a yellow bag that we can put the ash in.
And they recycle it sometimes, but yeah. There's really nothing to do with that stuff.
True.
All right, let's continue. Let's see. How do we sign up for the martial art of Jigen-ryu?
So it's not that easy to sign up for Jigen-ryu, to be totally honest. You can come along to the museum and have a look at the historical records, or you can maybe do a trial of Tategiuchi, just try it out.
Okay.
If you actually want to join, you have to come and watch a proper practice. And then you'll sit among the students, and then we'll ask you some questions afterwards about why you're interested in it and things like that.
It really is like a gentleman's club, isn't it?
It's quite hard to get into. So we do look at people for a couple of years, and after about 5 years or so, then you can do proper entry to the school.
Did you guys just hear that? 5 years of appealing to get into the Jigen-ryu school, and you might get.
So you can
approved.
train in that 5 years, but you won't be a proper student until they've properly looked at your character and how hard you're going to work at it.
So
And,
it's not just your skill with the sword; it's also who you are as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Wow.
100%. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: if we wanted, like we said in the video, to contact them, is there a website for the dojo?
So yeah, there's a website. If you search for Jigen-ryu, it's jigen-ryu.com, I think maybe.
We'll put it in the description of this video after the live show, so come back and check it out, and it'll be down there.
Yeah. So there's an English description there, and then an email address as well, and French as well. Also.
French.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. One more. We have. Is there any problem buying shochu and bringing it back to the United States? No.
No.
It's really common to get to take alcohol on the plane, go through customs. When you get back home, you have to properly declare it. But yeah, I think in the United States you can get up to 2 bottles of alcohol duty free. Don't quote me on that, but check with the airline. But yeah, you can usually take home a bottle. I had a friend who went home with 6 bottles of various shochus when he came to visit. So
Nice.
it's totally a thing.
So recently we can find some shochus in the States, Japanese market, right? Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some at Japanese supermarkets already.
Asian supermarket.
Yeah.
Yeah, in New York, there is a man I think he's here in Japan now, but before he was Stephen Lyman. He was pushing shochu as a culture in New York, and so it's izakaya shochu culture. And so there you can actually buy them in the States, in Europe, and things like that. We do have some of the companies here in Kagoshima are distributing them abroad. So if you search wherever you get your alcohol from, you could probably find a bottle.
So we're working on a few things towards the States in particular this year with shochu. So hopefully, you should see some more promotion and stuff out there as well in the coming year. So keep an eye out.
All right, guys, remember, we're on live right now, so if you have any more questions, keep asking us, okay? We got a question about how would a visitor apply for an appointment
Oh, for Jigen-ryu.
for 1 month? Yeah.
So if you just email us, we'll get
Can
back
you
to
email in English?
Yeah, you can email in English. I'll respond to it.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
They'll just kick it to you.
Yeah, just kick it to me, and
Like
I'll
Alex,
get
an
back to
English
you.
email came here, you do
Yeah,
it.
forwarded. So yeah, we can get back to it and discuss and things like that.
Well,
So,
that's the great thing about you being a part of the Jigen-ryu dojo is that you are able to, extend that culture to a broader audience.
Yeah. So all kinds of people are interested in it. From people who are interested in history, people who want to get more physically, fit and capable and things like that. To the kind of spiritual side of the practice, there's all kinds of things involved. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're holding the stick up above your your shoulders like this, and then when you're doing I've done it only once in Sengayen, and I could see that getting very tiring very quickly.
Yeah. If you use the right body mechanics, it's not so bad though. Yeah. Like anything, right? You get used to it, you can do it with less effort.
All right, guys. If there's Josh is looking at me. Oh, the person meant apartment.
An apartment. Okay.
I don't know. You have to find a real estate agent, or like usually when in Japan, if you guys just want to know, this has nothing to do with Tenmonkan, but if you want to find an apartment, you go to an agent, and then you just simply tell them like where you want to live, your budget, and then they go and show you a bunch of places. It's a pretty straightforward system.
Yeah.
The only thing that is if you're a foreign resident, you come to Japan, you need what's called a hoshonin, which is a guarantor, someone to sign on your apartment in case there's any trouble. And usually your employer will do that for you if you don't have like a relative or something that will, because usually they need to be a Japanese resident. So that might be a hurdle, but some places don't require a hoshonin.
So usually if you're working for a company, the company will support you through that process as well, because they'll have people that they know as well.
Especially here in Kagoshima, where it's not necessarily the most, English or, foreigner friendly in terms of like having like things in multiple languages. You really do need that support from your company, so it would be important to have that. But I mean, it's not that difficult once you do it. We have another question: recommendations for somewhere to eat raw chicken.
Right.
Torisashi?
First of all, let's talk about. We didn't talk about this, but what is torisashi natsuki?
Chicken sashimi.
Chicken sashi. Is it completely raw?
Yeah, it's
So the outside's kind of flash grilled.
Yeah, seared.
Seared,
fresh
right?
grilled.
Yeah. But the inside's raw, right?
Yeah, inside is raw.
Is it cold?
It's cold,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, and then it's gotta be fresh. But
So torisashi is like you can get it in bigger cities, but it's not recommended because you really need to get it from the source. It needs to be really, really fresh. And then there's a lot of places in Kagoshima where you can eat. In fact, you can buy it at the supermarket.
yeah, supermarket.
But-
and we have in chicken sashimi shop, only shop, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Tenmonkan.
yeah.
Do you have a recommended restaurant if you wanted to try the best torisashi?
Yokoban, they serve very good, torisashi.
So you can get your fill on beef and pork and whatever at Suijin, and then go to Yokoban and you can snack on torisashi while drinking shochu.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have it with a bit of ginger, soy sauce maybe. But
Or
yeah.
garlic.
Garlic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've never had it before, torisashi can seem weird at first a little bit, and so if you're really trepidatious about it, you can just ask them to cook it a little bit more, so it's like instead of being totally raw, it's just rare, and that can be like kind of like your stepping stone into that world. But yeah, it's totally something that I would recommend you do while you're here because it's something that's unique to Kagoshima. culture.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
I really like it.
Let's see. I love Japanese onsen. Is there any recommendations in Kagoshima or other prefectures? There's
so many, right?
Alex, what's your favorite onsen?
Favorite onsen? I've got a few. So I usually go to Keikokuen, which is near Yoshida.
Okay, so that's
the country.
about 25-minute drive from
A bit more,
Tenmonkan.
30 minutes maybe.
30 minutes,
Yeah. In Tenmonkan, I go to Kirishima Onsen, which is like an old school sento.
Yeah.
So it was on Chris Broad's Abroad in Japan channel as well.
Yeah.
That's the place in there. It's kind of like a bit retro looking.
Yeah,
which I quite like.
I like their retro places.
Yeah. But the good thing about Kagoshima Sento, usually Sento is just like a kind of
Bathhouse.
A bathhouse, right?
Public bathhouse.
So usually in other prefectures it's heated up water. But in Kagoshima it's all onsen water. So it's actually naturally hot.
Yeah, so they put the pipes down into the ground and then it circulates around with the heat from the active volcanoes and everything around here.
Yeah.
And it also a lot of it has that kind of like sulfur and various minerals in it. So it's really good water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where else? Koriyama Onsen is another good
Koriyama's
one.
pretty good. Koriyama.
It's a long way out though. It's quite far.
Yeah.
There's loads. Any
Yeah,
you recommend?
if you want to enjoy the beautiful view, like
Yeah.
with like Sakurajima, you can climb up to the Shiroyama Hotel.
Yeah.
You can enjoy very beautiful view with onsen.
Shirokuma Hotel is just above Temonkan, on a little hill, and I would say if you've never been to Kagoshima before, that's probably the first onsen that you should try.
Yeah.
Just simply because of the view, because it's
Yeah.
on the hill. You can see all of Kinko Bay, Sakurajima, the city, and the beautiful. It's like a pool, right? It's
Yeah.
really big. What do you call it? Old Temburo?
Rottenburo.
Temburo.
So we should also recommend the what do you call it? Tsunamushi Onsen in Ibuski. So you can get buried in the sand. Have
So-
a detox.
This is not in Tenmonkan, but it's about maybe an hour and a half drive south from here, or you can take a train. And like Alex said, there's two places that are famous. One is right on the ocean. The other one's a little bit above the ocean. And they they dig a hole. Old ladies, the old Japanese grandmas, okay?
Yeah.
In kind of like they're like yukata, and then they dig a hole in the sand that's naturally heated by the magma below. And they put you in the hole, and then they bury you with the hot sand, and you cook like a potato.
Yeah. I can do like 10 minutes, but
Yeah, 10 minutes is enough.
but you feel great afterwards because your blood flow is just nuts, man.
I could do it for 3 minutes, and when I got out, like all the grandmas were like, "Ah, ha, 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 yeah." Like that's so quick. Yeah, I'm not built for that, but yeah, most people really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to take a picture because I mean, where can you have a sand bath that's heated by magma vents below the the surface? It's crazy.
I heard a Russian dude did like an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just nuts. I don't think that's safe.
If someone was to do an hour, it would be a Russian for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
By the way, you wear kimono, yukata, when
Yukata,
you
yeah.
when you go into the
Yeah.
sun, so it's
Yeah.
not naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a question about how about famous black pork? So Kagoshima is famous for the kuro buta, is black pork. I think in English it's the
Berkshire pork, yeah.
Berkshire pork.
Berkshire.
Isn't that what you guys say?
Berkshire.
Whatever, Berkshire. It's spelled
Unbelievable.
Berkshire. I'm not
Is it
English.
Americans, man, you can't trust the pronunciation.
So it's it comes from England, right? The pig originally
Yeah,
comes
it's originally
England.
from Britain, yeah. And then developed here in Kagoshima. So the historical pork they ate here wasn't kurobuta, but now it's one of the most famous brands of pork in the world.
Yeah.
It's so tender, very kind of sweet taste to it almost as well. And my image of pork before I came here was kind of like tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hard.
Yeah, like hard to eat and a bit chewy. But when I first ate kurobuta, I was like, oh, come on, I'm not much of a fan of pork, really. Ate it, absolutely brilliant, you know.
It's a different
Crazy.
experience here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice.
There are a million restaurants that you can get, high level kurobuta. If you want to eat for lunch, for example, there's a very popular restaurant called Ichini-san.
Chini sounds good, yeah.
And it's in the heart of Temonkan, and you can get the
Pork shabu shabu.
pork shabu shabu. You can also get the
Tonkatsu?
tonkatsu filet and things like that, where
Yeah.
you just a giant piece of pork, deep fried pork. Oh, it's all really, really amazing. Actually, this is me. It's like 2 p.m. right now, and I haven't had lunch. So
Yeah,
I'm really
hungry.
It's making me hungry.
If you want good kurobuta as well, you can come to Sengayen Okate restaurant. with a
Yeah.
Great view of Sakurajima right in front of you. Yeah.
Actually, my friends just came in from Tokyo about 2 weeks ago, and they went there and they had it. And that's like, if you looked at their Instagram of all the things that they did in Kagoshima, the number one photo that they took was like that dish with Sakurajima in the background.
Yeah.
It was an amazing photo. I mean, Sengai is just a photo like genic place. You can just take so many photos there.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? We got a little bit more time. If there's no other questions, okay. All right, guys. That's been our presentation on Tenmonkan. If you guys enjoyed this episode and want us to do more of these kind of special, tours around the local area episodes, just let us know in the comments below. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching today. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, Josh here. Thanks for watching today's special live episode of Small Talk Japan. Small Talk Japan is filmed and recorded in Kagoshima at Story Studios. This podcast stars Mitch, Natsuki, and Alex. It's produced by me, Josh, and is executive produced by Michi. Today's special tour was sponsored by Stapleton Eikaiwa, with support from Kagoshima City. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed the show, click here to subscribe and click here to watch more. See you!